Eddy, Pettybourne, take one. Wait, coached in Serbia.
Yeah, in Serbia. So we lived there for about 8 months. I was telling Mum, I'm going to Serbia. She's like, obviously all mums, they go into Serbia.
Worried, eh?
Bombs and the war and that. He should have been playing for New South Wales.
Oh man, I'm so over that chat. Everyone tells me, he should be playing for New South Wales.
he's
Like,
a
I'm
trainer.
staying out of it.
He goes, do you feel God's presence when you pray? And at the time, like, I was like, to be honest, like I made up a lie. I was like, yeah, no, I do. But really I didn't.
You didn't.
I didn't feel his presence. And we went to Christian church up in Gold Coast called Glow Church. I remember standing there, and obviously the pastor was preaching. Bro, I was bawling my eyes, man. I was crying, bro. And I was like, what's that feeling?
Yeah.
And I was trying to hide it because, like,
You don't want people to see you crying, you know?
John 13:7. You may not understand now, but you understand later.
Yeah.
That is a testimony of what we've gone through. And I feel like anyone that is going through a difficult time, it's God is the King of all kings, man. And he's just waiting for you to come. I kind of resisted him for a long time, questioned him, and I did all the stuff that most un-Christians do. And I was like, is that normal?
We've been through some stuff, but nothing like you have.
The moment I found God was when I've never shared this before.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Izzy and Maria show, where we talk about sporting journey, and we touch on faith as well. And today we've got Eddy Pettybourne. Welcome to the show, bro.
Thanks for having us, man. I'm really grateful to be here.
Man, we I know it was short notice, bro. Just asking you a couple of days ago, but we appreciate your time and just being able to come on and be available so we can talk about your journey and where you are right now in life.
How was the drive?
Bit
Did
of
you
a
come
long
from
drive.
GC, yeah?
Yeah, so I had a pit stop to see, obviously, Johnny Falau. Caught up with the boys, which was good.
Good
Had a
old
bit of a
Johnny. We
haircut.
love Johnny.
Looking
He's a
sharp with
good
that
man.
cut.
Yeah, we had a bit of a business chat before we came here, so no, it's good.
Nice.
Nice, bro. How's things, bro? How's the family?
Yeah, they've been good. We went away for the weekend, went to Sunny Coast and spent some time with the kids, and just enjoyed the weekend together and back into swinging things again.
And how many kids do you have? Boys,
got two.
girls,
so I got
two. Okay.
Yeah, girl and boy, 2 and done.
That's what we say, eh?
Yeah.
2 and done. It's
Two and done. Oh, we say that, but then we see like a family of, with 3 kids and we get a bit clucky, but yeah, we'll see.
It's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard.
It is hard. Eh?
All right, but we'll get into it. You're full Samoan, right? Both parents are Samoan.
Yep, so both parents are Samoa. Moved over to Australia 1999. Came to Sydney. So, my parents kind of went from the islands. They went to New Zealand first as a stopover, obviously, with the visas and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Then they had the opportunity to come to Australia. So we banked up in Sydney Mascot. So that's
I know a bit about Mascot. We actually we lived in Mascot like a fair bit of our young childhood and that. My 2 older brothers went to school in Mascot, and so obviously I was young, I can't remember much, but my 2 older brothers, man, they remember a lot, and they Mascot special.
100%. So so mum and dad came over from Samoa, obviously as Polynesian parents. Obviously an opportunity for us to kind of give us the opportunity to go find good jobs, schools and stuff like that. So really grateful for my parents, obviously being such a loving home. I had siblings of 3, so I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
My sister Jemima and my other brother Sonny.
Oh, nice.
So we had just the 3 of us. Pretty small for Samoan family.
Yeah, that is small. Eh?
Polynesian families, there's probably 5 or 6.
Oh,
Yeah,
minimum,
that's standard. Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
So we banked up in Sydney. Obviously, mum and dad were hard workers at the time, trying to provide for us. We lived in a pretty much a low economy kind of area. Didn't have much, but as kids, you just see that, wow, this is amazing what we've got.
Yeah.
The food that we get. You don't know till you have your own kids that, man, how hard our parents work.
Oh, big time.
So our parents can only go up to this level of parenting.
Yeah.
Whereas now, as parents like ourselves, like we can take it to the next
Yeah.
part. But grew up in a very humble a very humble area. Both parents didn't really speak much English. But the thing I loved about them, the tenacity to go out there and work hard and provide for us was the main thing for them.
And you, as like me and Izzy talk about it all the time, is like we didn't know that we were struggling, but they made it look like everything was all good, and you didn't know anything else, and you had the best, like for us, we had the best childhood, not knowing that, you know, mum and dad were working so hard just to put food on the table. But I feel like that's just the typical island spirit, is that never say die attitude, and as long as there's a roof over our head, clothes on the kids' backs and food on the table, that's the main thing. What I wanted to ask, Pettybourne, your last name.
That's not a typical Samoan last name.
I was saying to this guy, I was like, do you have any other ethnicity in you? Because I've never, ever, ever. It's like this guy, David Smith, I went to school with, and he'd just come off the boat from Samoa, and his name was David Smith. And me and my friends were like, I'm pretty sure this guy's name's like Filippo, Filimonga, you know, Josefa, something, Makauku, something. But like, your last name's really intriguing.
Yeah, it was crazy. I don't know what happened.
Do you like the German people come and...
You changed it when you got to Australia.
They're running away from something.
Yeah, that's how you got your visa accepted.
Probably, to be honest, probably, But it was like in Samoa, I think a lot of our names our surname back in the time was Wolf.
Right.
But then, I don't know what happened. Dad said that there was some argument about names and this and that, so they called it Pettybourne. Yeah. But it's crazy, I've got heaps of family that are Pettybourne, but spelled different.
They are or they aren't?
They are Pettybourne, but spelled differently. So you'll meet a Pettybourne, he's probably P-E-D-D-I-B-O-N-E. And then there's ones where I'm with a U, you know what I mean? Like, that's where it come across. But
are you guys related, the ones that are spelled differently?
We're related.
Okay, right.
So it's crazy. So my dad's brother, his surname's Pettybourne. We spelled the same, but he doesn't have a U.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Typical Samoans,
I don't know what
sounds sus, bro. There's something happening there.
Anything to get into Australia.
Oh, man.
That's a cool story.
You were born in New Zealand, right?
Born in Christchurch.
Yeah.
And then we moved over to Sydney when I was 3.
Oh, so you don't remember much of your, obviously, being
haven't
young.
been back. They always said such a nice city, nice place. But I think Australia was probably... That was like the door opening to opportunities.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And growing up as a kid, what were your parents like? Was your old man like quite strict, or your mum was strict?
Tough, man. Dad was tough in a good way. He obviously wanted us to, like a lot of us Polynesian parents probably go through similar paths.
Yeah.
Whereas he probably the trauma that they probably got at the same time is kind of passed down to us. Well, mum was always the loving, caring one, the nurturing parent. And obviously dad was the hard one, obviously, because he wants the best for us. He probably didn't want us to be in the same path that he went. So he was strict in a good way. He obviously got the hidings, which is, you can't do it now. But I think what he's done, and for us as kids, he's definitely blessed us in a way that we can probably not change our parenting, but be a better father, husband to our family.
When did you start to realise that that your dad was trying to instill those things in you? Like, was there a certain age where you realised that my old man wants a sort of better lifestyle for you guys?
I think it was in footy. If it wasn't footy, it was school.
Yeah.
Mum and dad were always big in education. I wasn't the best in school, but the thing I kind of saw myself, because I was the eldest one in the family, I knew I had to look after my siblings.
Yeah.
So that way I had to take charge, be a leader in the household. And I think he instilled so much value into what I was doing. He was really passionate about rugby league, because he played in New Zealand. So,
oh really?
Yeah, he played a lot in New Zealand, and I think his path, his journey in playing rugby league at the time probably wasn't the best. The partying, the alcohol, and all that stuff kind of come inclusion with it. and he wanted me to probably succeed in that path, whether if it was rugby league or in school.
Yeah.
Mum was always like, whatever you do, son, just
I'll
have a
support you.
good crack at it, you know. And at school, I always tried my hardest. Probably didn't get the best results, but you know, that was one thing I kind of felt was I tried my best to do the best I can, all those things that I was doing.
Yeah. And yeah.
So your sporting career, it's quite colourful. Hey, like you've played at quite a few teams.
Well, quite experienced.
Very, very experienced. Can you just talk us through where you started, like in terms of professionally, how long you played there for and to the end?
Yeah. So I started at South. So I'm a South Sydney junior.
Right.
So I played in Redfern. That's where I grew up.
Yeah.
Played in South juniors. Obviously played first grade at the age of 19. Debuted then. And then I played there for a few years, and then I went into West Tigers. I was supposed to do 3 years there at the time, but then something happened with the coach. I didn't see eye to eye with the coach, so I left. I went overseas.
Right.
So there was an opportunity to go to England. Went overseas, did a stint there with Wigan, came back, played with the Titans for a few years. Then that's when I knew my career was kind of, our NRL was kind of done for me.
Yeah.
So me and my wife, obviously we had we were having a baby at the time. We said, you know what, we'll just go overseas and
Just
see
get
what it's
away.
like, get a bit of experience. Obviously, you guys have been to France.
Yeah.
How
So
old were you at the time when that was all happening?
I was 20. When I went to France.
When
When I went to France, I was probably 29.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so you kind of playing NRL, playing the top league, you kind of know it's nearly towards the end of your career. So I was like, man, I got to take this ticket so we can go overseas and do what we needed to do. So went to Toulouse, coached in Serbia, come back to Limu. Like I was
Coached in Serbia?
Yeah, in Serbia. So we lived there for about 8 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
How was
it was
that?
so nice.
Wow, I didn't even know. Well,
I didn't know they
experience?
played rugby league.
How was that experience?
Bro, it was the best, man. Like, at first, because it was COVID time, I was telling Mum, I'm going to Serbia. She's like, obviously all mums, they go to Serbia.
Worried, eh?
Bombs and the war and that. Son, there was a war in 1999. I was like, don't worry, it's all right. But like, I was scared too. But we ended up going there. We spent a year there. Bro, they're like Polynesians.
Are they?
Such
really?
nice people. They're all about food, gathering together. Like
Community.
Community, massive. So that was a cool experience. Then we came back to France, did a stint there, and then went to England. And then we came back home.
My goodness. How old were you when you came back home?
Literally 2 years ago I came back. I was 35.
So your other baby was born overseas as well?
Both kids were born in France.
Oh, wow.
One in Toulouse and one in Villeneuve. It was a country town. Yeah, in France.
That's incredible. Far out. You've done some travelling,
Oh,
hey?
we have, yeah.
And because how old are the kids now?
So my oldest daughter is 6 and my son's 3.
Wow, and so they've been to all those cool places, like
Yeah, they have,
yeah, from being birthed to now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Your first year in NRL was 2007, right?
2007,
Yeah, because I remember playing against South and that was my first year as well.
Yeah.
Because you guys played against each other.
Yeah, we have.
During school and
just schoolboys and that. So we you're 1 year older.
1
than
year
me.
older, yeah.
Yeah, so we've sort of been roundabout there. I remember playing schoolboy carnival. I was playing for Queensland. Eddy was playing for New South Wales Catholics. Whereabouts was that again? That was down in
Wagga Wagga.
Yeah, Wagga. That was they had some guns, man. You guys, because you obviously end up playing. You're making an Australian schoolboy side.
Yeah.
You guys had some gun players, man.
Man, that's some really gun players, man.
Right. Who like Mitchell Pearce? You had
Mitchell Pearce, Michael Jennings, Aku.
Darius, that's
Good
right.
old
Darius Boyd. You guys had Dave Taylor and all that.
Yeah, so there are quite a few first grade players playing in that squad, which was cool.
That's.
And who were you playing for?
I was playing for Queensland school.
Oh, so you play New South
Yeah,
Wales?
yeah.
Okay.
He should have been playing for New South Wales.
Oh man, I'm so over that chat. Everyone tells me, "Oh, he should be playing for New South Wales."
he's
Like,
a
I'm
traitor.
staying out of it.
No, I'm a true blue Queenslander, mate.
He actually is. Queensland and MMT is his thing. But
Nah, it's all good.
yeah.
When did you and your wife meet? When did you guys?
So we met 2009, but you put me on the spot here. 2008.
You better get this right.
2008, 2009. But we've been together. We've been married for 10 years, and we've been together for nearly 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I met through my brother-in-law now. So he was my mate at the time. He was going out with his sister.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
So you-
right.
Mate, you got your friends and then you
Yeah.
stalk the sister.
The old, who's that?
Yeah. Come over to his house, he would say. Really just check it
Well,
out.
she's a
his
family
sister.
of 7, so there's 5 sisters and 2 brothers. So we're all pretty
Yeah.
tight knit.
Oh, it's a big family.
Big family. Yeah, all from Lefanga.
Yeah, man.
Are you guys related?
That's crazy. We might be. I'll ask my parents. And you're obviously from Nofualii as well. Just
Yeah.
learned so much since you got here. So it's pretty cool.
Small world, eh?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, talk about your faith, because I know you obviously believe in God. Growing up in your family, was it a constant thing to go to church every week with your parents and that?
Yeah. So mum and dad, we grew up in a Catholic household.
Yeah.
Dad was pretty diligent of us going to church every Sunday. So yeah, going to a Catholic church, went to a Catholic school. You kind of everything's been instilled in us for that religious aspect. But yeah, through that time, we obviously going to school. You know, obviously learning the religion and how it all works. And during that period of time, I was kind of probably just going to church just to tick the box. That's just my honest opinion. Like, everyone's different.
Yeah.
But for me, I saw it as that. Every Sunday, like, you'll be at a nightclub on a Saturday night. You turn up on a Sunday, we're like, time to go to church, you know.
Glasses on at the back.
You know. And those were the times I can remember going to church.
Yeah.
My parents, they loved on us. Like, we always prayed together, you know. But the one thing was when I met my wife, Faye.
Yeah.
So she's Christian.
Oh, right.
So it was crazy when I met her. She asked me, she goes, "Oh, are you Christian?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm Christian." Like, you know. She goes, "Oh, yeah, but which church do you go to?" And I was like, "I'll go to this Catholic church." She goes, then she was like, "Oh, that's different." And I was like, "What do you mean?" So we had this kind of constant battle between me being a Catholic and her being Christian. And one question that hit me the most was when she goes, "Do you feel his presence when you pray?" And then I honestly stood there and I was just like, "What?" Like, trying to be those ones.
That's
What are you talking about?
Those angry ones. Like, what did you say? She goes, "Do you feel God's presence when you pray?" And at the time, like, I was like, to be honest, like, I made up a lie. I was like, "Yeah, no, I do." But really, I didn't.
You didn't.
I didn't feel his presence. Because I knew, for me, going to church was just, tick the box. You go to school, it's the, you know, you do all the
just like a routine almost.
Yeah, pretty much a routine. And that was instilled in me, and it was normal for me. So I walk into school, we're already saying the prayer, we're singing the song, we're doing all this, and that. Till she asked me that question, she's like, have you ever felt his presence? And I was sitting there going, "No, I don't." Like, I was just like, "No, I don't. What is that? Like, what is that feeling?" So, yeah, we'll fast forward anyway. We came to the Gold Coast when I signed in with the Titans. The first year I had a really good year, so I was partying and every weekend.
Yeah.
And obviously, mum and dad's always going, "Hey, make sure, son, you go to church on Sunday." You know? But yeah. But then you don't even go to church, you know.
Yeah.
And I think there was one night that hit me when Faye was like, "Oh, we need to go to church. We need to find a church." And I was like, "Well, what church are we going to?"
Yeah.
You know, and that's when Faye said, "Well, let's go to this Christian church." But for me, I was like, "Well, why don't we just go to a
Catholic church or
Catholic
something.
church?" Because I'm so used to that, you know. She goes, "Just come to this church. We'll just give it a crack and see how we go." And we went to a Christian church up in Gold Coast called Glow Church.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I remember standing there, and obviously the pastor was preaching. Bro, I was bawling my eyes, man. I was crying, bro. And I was like, "What's that feeling?"
Yeah.
And I was trying to hide it because, like,
You don't want people to see you crying, you know?
But at the time, it was quiet. But then when they started singing, I was like, "Wow, this is awkward as," you know, because I'm so used to being like stand still, hymns, just cruise.
Bro,
I
we're
had the
literally
same.
just talking about
We were just talking about that. I had the same feeling. Like when you took me to a church, we just started dating, and
Similar to Glow.
You know, they worship and they like jump
Yeah.
and they put their hands up and singing, close their eyes, and some people were like collapsing on the floor and
Yeah.
stuff. Like you, I was like, this is uncomfortable for me. But I didn't know it was a form of worshipping and all that sort of stuff. But sorry, carry on.
Yeah, but that's pretty much the same thing. And I was like, is that normal? And like, you know, like,
Yeah.
do you know you want to raise your hands? You know, you want to raise your hands, but you don't. You're
exactly,
like,
right?
you're like, no.
Yeah, I don't want that guy to think of like, oh, this guy's weird, you know?
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, because I grew up obviously as a Mormon, you know, so going to church, you sit down, you sing hymns, there's no raising of arms or anything, you know. And then I started to realise that when you worship God, it's about the heart, you know, like you just want to give everything, and if people just want to raise their hands, it's just go for it, you know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of the times when we go to church, we have this fear of what the next guy or the next person is thinking of me. If I raise my hand, it's like, oh, but you know, I'm there to worship God, you know what I mean, and just give Him everything. And so even that was a challenge for me for a bit of a time. But then you just, I mean, once you understand that God's presence and just being there for Him, you just forget about what people think about you. You're like, oh, bro, I'm just here to worship you, you know, like you're the one that's giving me everything, and I just want to be in your presence. But yeah. Bro, we actually experienced the same thing, so we know what you're talking about.
Because at the time you just feel awkward, like you know, and then everyone's like, "Hey, man," like you know, like, "Oh, hey," I was like, "Hey," he's like, "Man, you gonna come again?" You're this or that. I'm like, so I might have to rethink this. But I think during that period, I felt like overwhelmed a bit. That's probably like I wouldn't say I cry heaps now. But back then, you know, you're hard as nails because you know, just the way you are, you being a footy player, coming into church. But man, that period kind of took me a long time to kind of find my feet as a Christian. Yeah. Hardest thing was to tell my parents that I'm going to this church. Yeah, that was the hardest. Took me a year.
It took you a year.
Wow.
To tell my dad, or my mum and dad. My mum was pretty sweet. She grew up in a Christian home.
Okay, yeah.
But my dad was like a real hard Catholic man. He's such a loving guy. Yeah. But it was so hard for me to tell him. Yeah. It was crazy. So my brother moved up to the Gold Coast with us, and he started going to church, and he obviously opened up and said, "Dad, I'm going to a Christian church." Like, he broke the ice for me.
Oh, so he told your parents before you did?
My parents were like, "What?" Like,
what are you doing?
Like, you sure you want to do that? And how are you going to raise your kids? Yep. And then they obviously questioned me and stuff in a respectful way. Yeah. You know, that's just like, as Samoans, you know, when you open up like that, they just want to see where you're at. But I think as time went on, I was still lost. It was crazy. Like I didn't find God then. Yeah. I kind of felt His presence then. But throughout that whole journey, I was still trying to find my feet. Like I was still going out, you know, still doing stuff that, you know, it's not, you know, it doesn't resonate with God's values. Yeah.
How was your father coming? Like, obviously, you said it took him a year to accept that you were a Christian. How did that all play? Obviously, you're saying your brother broke the ice. Yeah. And so with you, was he like, okay, another one's gone or something?
I think it was more just, I think because he kind of built us to be, you know, solid together. He would never mention it, but I know, you know, when you have that feeling. Yeah. But like, it was crazy. Like, this is the crazy thing. So I invited my dad to a big conference, like a Christian conference. I said, "Dad, look, if you want to come, I got a ticket here if you want to come." And any time of the day he would say no. But he turned up.
Really?
It was crazy. He turned up.
A Samoan father showed up to a conference.
Christian conference, and we were there. And I was like, I saw my mum come because my mum always supports us. You know, she always comes. And then Dad came. I was like, oh. I was like, okay. And then he was sitting at the back, and obviously we went through the sermon. The pastor preached, and you know, at the end where they said, "Oh, come down if you want." So my dad got up, but I thought he was going to the toilet. bro, and I was like, oh, no, he's probably going to the toilet. So mum went down, my sister went down, my brother went down. And we were about to go down, me and Faye. and then my old man was down there, bro.
No
Bro,
way.
put his hands up like that. Bro, crazy.
No.
Crazy.
Oh, man.
Fuck.
That
Wow.
is-
And I was like, my sister, my brother,
That's
we were just crying, man. And like till this day, I never go up to him and ask him about it because I just let him be. Like,
Yeah.
we kind of just let him build. And he reads the Bible every day now, like, bro, religiously.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like he's just reading
So
the
is he
Bible.
still a Catholic?
He's a Christian, but like he still does, like goes to Catholic church every Sunday. But I know where he stands. Like as long as he knows that he's building his personal relationship with God. Because sometimes it takes longer than everyone else. Like
Oh,
for us,
yeah.
Oh.
Everyone's on different journeys.
different
you know what I mean?
journeys, yeah. But I feel like planting that seed in him, it's good because now my kids, when they see Pa reading the Bible, like, oh, Pa, you're reading the Bible, you know? And it's like, it's a good thing for me because I love that and I want to see that. As in, well, if you talked about it 20, 30 years ago, we were probably having beers at the back. You know what I mean?
Times have
having a
changed,
chat,
yeah.
having a chat about life and that. But it's good to see that, yeah. So that was really cool to see, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
It just shows you, again, like no one is too far gone for God, you know? Like
100%.
even in your own mind, you might have restrictions on like, oh, this person, there's no way he's going to come to Christ, you know? But nothing's like hard for God, you know what I mean? If you just, even an open invitation to be like, hey, do you want to come to church with us on Sunday? Like, you don't know what God's going to do, you know what I mean? I think we put limitations on ourselves that...
And we put limitations on God too.
Yeah,
100%.
exactly. Yeah. Oh, good point. Because it's like we put him in a box and be like, oh, no, he can't do that, you know, or that person can't change, you know what I mean? I look at a perfect example in the Bible, the Apostle Paul. He went from killing Christians and God just changed him like that, bang, and he's obviously, you know, become an apostle and wrote majority of the New Testament, you know what I mean? And it's like, how can you go from a person who's murdering the Christian to just like change? And that can only be God.
Yeah.
And so it's a good example, but man, it's, I think, you don't realise, I think your example of you, what God's doing in your life and just the rest of your family probably plays a big part in how your dad slowly come into that, you know?
Yeah,
I think it's important. I think a lot of times we downplay the impact we might have, and it's not even with words. It's just the actions of how we lead our life, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of that speaks volumes rather than actually like speaking at times sometimes. So I think it's so beautiful, bro. Like if people knew me over 10 years ago, bro, I'll never be talking about God, you know what I mean? Like it's just the reason why I'm so passionate about it is because he's changed me. Like just like you know, that counter that you had when you went to Glow Church, I had the same thing when I went to church. It was like never been to a church where like people are worshiping, you know, and I'm standing there and I'm singing a song. I don't even know the song. I'm just looking at the lyrics, like singing it. And the song was about, like, it was called At the Cross. And something just hit me, hit me so bad and I couldn't even control myself. Started bawling my eyes out. And I'm like, bro, what's this feeling, man? Like, and I know now that it was God, but like you said, I can resonate with you because even after that, I had that experience. Yeah. I still was going back out into the world, drinking and doing all that sort of stuff, you know. It wasn't until the later years I started to really invest and just dedicate, you know, be disciplined and I give my time over to God and I started to realise that all the things that I'm trying to look for satisfaction, fulfillment wasn't giving me that. Yeah. So I just hit a dead end and it was like, again, like you, I wasn't ready to surrender that, you know. I was just still sort of 80%. I'll give you, but there's a 20% of me like, nah, I still want to go clubbing. Man. I want to go out and do drugs and all that sort of stuff. But once I just, you know, laid it all down, that's it, you know. God just took over and just took control. But I'm just amazed. I love hearing stories and testimonies of people, how they've come to God and stuff like that.
Do you have any struggles being a Christian?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, pretty much. So before I was kind of talking about spending time with God. I struggled. So my time with him has to be early hours in the morning. Everyone's different.
right.
I feel like my quiet time is 3:45 a.m. in the morning. So making a commitment
Wow.
to get up and read the Bible, that was the toughest.
Yeah.
But as a Christian, I struggle all the time.
Yeah.
Probably how I parent, probably what I'm doing at work or whatever. What I mean? You go through different scenarios throughout the day. Yeah, I do struggle. Like I'm not perfect. It was crazy when I was a newly Christian. My pastor said, "Bro, run a connect group." I said, "Bro, I got no clue how to run a connect group, man."
I'm not ready for
I
that.
said, "Bro, I'm not ready for that. I want to learn myself."
Yeah.
I ended up running one.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. I run one for that 1 year when I was at the Titans. So I got all the boys and their partners and kids, and we just sat there and we obviously just read the Bible, got a verse out, and then we kind of expanded on the verse.
Yeah, cool.
But it was so crazy. I used to do that, right? They were like, "Hey guys, we'll go out. We'll go out and have a few drinks and laugh and that."
Yeah.
And obviously, it's not the Christian way. But that's what was happening. Like that's what I was doing. But I was going through that because I was lost.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I can't find my feet.
Yeah.
So you have to go through that
Yeah.
for you to kind of find your feet with God. I'm always still learning. Like I want to know the Bible. Yeah. I think that's our weapon.
Yeah. Well, we're the same too. We're still learning.
Yeah. We have this devotional book by David Tripp.
Yeah.
And has daily devotionals, and that's kind of our time. Either when we put the kids to bed, and then we, late at night have our time together, or like you, early in the morning. So, but yeah, that's so funny about the Connect group,
legit.
and then going out.
Just to be
Honestly,
like,
I
"Let's
feel
go."
like every Christian true believer can resonate with that, because that's
man.
exactly
Straight up.
what we all are, man. That's so true,
Do you know why I'm laughing? Because I did the same thing. Like when I was at the Waratahs playing, I used to run a Bible study with the boys, and my heart was all in it. Like, but
It was
this
all
how-
in up until 7 p.m. and then that was
It was but it reminds me of that constant battle between the spirit and the flesh. You know what I mean? It's just that all the time.
Yeah.
But my heart was always like, man, I want to be, I want to follow God. And in times of, I just fall into weakness. Of like, on the weekend, bro, it's like, but I'm like, I used to, bro. I'll tell you what, like, I used to run the Bible study, but then on the weekends, I'd
you
go out
want the
and
Bible
drink.
so that we can go.
Bro, I used to come home and I used to just be so upset with myself. Like it was like God just like nudging, like the Spirit was just like, hey, conviction about.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean?
100%.
But God was teaching me during those times,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize it then. But I look
so
back
sorry.
now, I know. I'm like,
It's like curtains close in his bed, shaking because he's like coming on the downhill.
but it's funny. I'm laughing about it now because your heart wants to follow what God does, and then your flesh is tugging you, pulling you away to try and do the opposite. You know what I mean?
Spiritual
But
warfare, man.
oh man, spiritual warfare. But I think it's so important, particularly as a newly Christian, how important being discipled is.
Yeah.
Like, because you need to be, you need to have a good foundation before you're able to, do those things like run a connect group or something like that, And I only realize that now, but I was so like passionate about it. I go, no, I can do that. I love God and I can do that. But obviously you got to be equipped and you got to, have the right foundation. Otherwise, running the Bible study today and tomorrow, boy, just go out.
Bro, legit, honestly, the conviction after, I was like, wow, I've never felt this feeling before, Like you've done the wrong thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, the guilt, hey.
Oh, man.
It stays with you. But you actually don't realise how much you confuse other people.
Oh, 100%.
Like you're running boys, let's have let's read a verse and talk about it, and then let's go drink. And then your mates will probably be thinking, oh, that's all right. If Eddy's doing that, then I can do the same too. I can go to church and then go drink all the time. But we always talk about it, It's
We had
like
this chat recently, actually.
our
about
walk
confusing.
is about it's ourselves, obviously, but it's also we got to be careful about people around us, and the
100%.
message that we are portraying with our actions and our words is and that's what we've been trying to do is just walk the talk, because the last few seasons we've been hard out lukewarm. But,
Well, that's just like,
Yeah.
again, the struggle is real as a Christian, you know what I mean? But just, man, it's not easy. The walk's not easy.
Nah, it's a spiritual battle that you don't realize it's happening around you. Eh?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
environment that you're in, and it's like, I feel like God sometimes He puts you in an environment to kind of say, you need to get out. How are you going to get out? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I used to always look at that, and I was like, man, that's probably why I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
So been about nearly 10 months sober now.
oh wow.
But it's just making those little sacrifices, I think, kind of will make your walk not easier, but a little bit easier to what you've done before.
Oh, yeah.
Because, for you to not be in those kind of environments, you got to make some sacrifices.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What's a verse you live by, or what's a daily verse that you like to kind of meditate on, or something you fall back to during a tough situation? Or
I just touched on it before, but John 13,
oh
7.
yeah, okay.
I love that because I think it's probably resonates with what I've been through already. And there's sometimes where God kind of, He puts you in those scenarios where you have to keep going through, and the fruits will come. Really trusting in God, and just being diligent, obedient to Him.
Yeah.
Because that's what it like. He just wants to see that. I think He wants that relationship with you, and really leaning on to Him. I think that's one thing I kind of take out of that verse.
As a Christian, how do you, like, you know, with all the work that you guys are doing, you know, as a investor and all that stuff that you're doing with finance and that, and then also running your own podcast yourself, Easy Project. How do you approach like your work or your business as a Christian? Like, what's your mindset going into that?
As a Christian, I think I feel like God. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, and I feel like God wants us to live in the kingdom, like live in the kingdom where you are now.
Yeah.
So that when you go into the kingdom, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, the kingdom's gonna be better.
Yeah.
Like, don't live in lack. And that's one thing I kind of took away from understanding what God's trying to teach us. You can't live in lack. Like, you can't suffer to go to heaven.
Yeah.
Like, you can if you want to.
Yeah.
That's a choice that you want. But I feel like God wants us to live in the kingdom.
Yeah.
Like Abraham, he's probably one of the biggest businessmen in the world.
Yeah. Wealthy and
Very wealthy man. But he approached, like, you know, everyone says money is the root of all evil. It's how you pursue money and how you utilize that money. But I feel like you have to live in the kingdom for you to get to the kingdom. God wants us to live life joyfully, whether you got millions of dollars or $0.
Yeah.
As long as you're living in the kingdom, doesn't matter how much money you got. It's just how you approach life with God.
Yeah.
And for me in business, obviously I partner with Mikey, one of the good lads, SMSF Learning Center. Such a good man. You know, he's played a big part of my life in terms of finances and understanding the game of helping people.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. It's the value.
Yeah.
You know, adding value to people's lives. So I approach that in a way that I can add value to someone's life.
Yes.
If they don't take it on board now, they probably maybe later, maybe 5 or 10 years later, they'll probably come back and go, hey, Eddie, could you help us with this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think if we can do God's work in what I'm doing at the moment, you'll see the fruits later on. Yeah.
I love that because I'm just newly like learning that stuff too, in how to approach business side of things or whatever God's called you to do with that mindset. And I've been listening to, and I know you listen to him a lot, is Myron Golden, who's a real who's a Christian, but his influence in the business side of things is all the principles come from the Bible. And so I feel like, but I don't know if it's a Pacific Islander thing, but there's like a stigma around the way we look at money, particularly as a Christian, you know, like that it is evil to have a lot of money. And so I feel like a lot of our people adopt that thinking, and so they don't, because of that thinking, they actually progress into the creativity side of things maybe they might have. And so again, it goes back to your point, what you said, I think that God has given us the power to have dominion over the thing that we're called into, and I love what Myron says around, you know, our sole purpose here on earth is to obviously please God, but to serve people.
Yeah.
And you serve people by what you're doing, like what you guys are doing in finance and investment and that. You're serving people in that, you know, and it's about giving value in that. And so I love that approach because it's a godly approach, you know what I mean, coming from the Bible. So I think for a lot of people that'll help their mindset going into, particularly as Christians, you know, because a lot of people, they just don't want to. I know personally people that are skillful in maybe running a business, but they don't want to because they have a mindset of like, oh, if I'm rich, then I might not get into the kingdom of heaven. But it's, you know, that I think they interpret the way that God's word is spoken, you know, so which means they just put a stop or they don't end up progressing. So I think it's interesting because I'm only just learning that now, going into that, you know, and just learning a lot more about the deep things that God has for us, you know, because I like you said, I don't think God wants us to be in lack, you know what I mean? He wants us to live a life that is abundant.
100%.
And I'm not saying everyone's going to be rich or whatever, but is having that mindset of having that abundance, you know, having a joyful life and living in that space.
Yeah, 100%. And I've like, not everyone's going to have, you know, the riches of money or whatever. But I think if you can approach it in a way that, you know, God's given everyone a gift, to utilize your gifts. You know what I mean? Go out there and serve. Don't be served, but serve. Serve God. And I feel like that's important for people to understand. Like you were saying about our people, obviously we give back a lot, you know, and that's part of our culture. You know, we give a lot. Well, you can't give out of lack. No. You can, physically can. Yeah. But you got to remember, like, you got to try to build wealth in a way that you can then joyfully give. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think there's a balance. There's a debate in that. Yeah. But I feel like if God's called you to serve His kingdom by you know, in whatever you're doing, do it. Yeah. And do it to the best you can.
Yeah. I believe that 100%.
Do you help many of the leagueies, like ones that are playing now? Like what's your? Because we've met Mikey. Yeah, we love Mikey. He is a character.
Oh,
hey, straighty 180. Yeah, totally. And his hairline's awesome too. But
he's gonna see this as well.
That's all right, Mikey. Me and Mikey, we joke around a lot. But he's pretty funny. But yeah, in terms of serving others, because obviously with the background that you've had, now that you're retired and you're amazing at doing finance and investment, that's your field. Have you been able to branch out and help other leagueies that are playing now?
Yeah, so we've definitely helped quite a few guys.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Because we base ourselves, because when I met Mikey, he asked me, so what's the gap in between the NRL and the retirement phase? I said there's a massive gap where there's a lot of guys are transitioning out, not knowing what they want to do. Obviously, a lot of them got families, where they're going to build their investments, build their portfolio, all that kind of stuff. And we've helped a lot of guys at the moment. This is probably only just the starting phase for a lot of these guys. But yeah, obviously you understand with the transition, it's not easy. Obviously with you playing netball as well. Oh
yeah, it's scary.
You know? It's scary. So I think for us to close the gap there where we can be that one-stop shop, we can help these guys. Whether we help them for the next 10 years or even 1 year, just to give them a stepping stone into doing what they're passionate about. Because that's the thing. Like when I was finishing up rugby league, I didn't know what I wanted to do. But my wife used to always ask me when I was 25, what are you going to do after footy? But I couldn't even answer that question. I was like, I don't know. So what do you mean you don't know? Go do some study or something. Because as rugby league players, we get all the
you just get
all
everything
the stuff. We
given.
got everything given to us. All the education, they've invested in us to do something, but I never did it. You know what I mean? So that's my big tip, is to make sure as athletes at the moment that are playing any kind of sport, make sure you're doing something. Have a plan B, plan C, plan D even. Because it is scary transitioning out. Like how was it for you guys, for you as well?
Yeah, I retired when we settled.
Oh, yeah.
With RA.
She was forced into retirement.
I wasn't forced into
Nah,
retirement.
you weren't.
So like I would say the last 4 years of my career, I was kind of ready to give it up. But the one thing I hadn't achieved was a gold medal. I hadn't won a World Cup.
Yeah.
So I stuck around till 2019 to, I wanted to achieve that. And it was me, we were called the Fossils, myself, Laura Langman and Casey Korpoa. So we stuck around and did that, whatever this guy decides to make my life harder and put that post, post that post. And
Thank you, Jesus.
yeah. Oh no, I'm so we've spoken about it. I don't regret that, but we joke around about it. But yeah, I was ready to go. And then once we were done, I fell pregnant straight away. So we settled on the Wednesday and we found out we were pregnant with our eldest boy on the Friday.
Wow.
So for
Timing.
for me, absolutely. God's timing, always
God's
impeccable. So for me, I just wanted it to be done when I was played, fell pregnant, and then we went to France. Played for Catalan Dragons in Perpignan, and then COVID hit. So I didn't really have. Sorry, your question. Whilst I was playing, I should have done a lot more studies than I did do, but I wasn't as I always thought my life was going to be fine.
Yeah.
I really did, which is not a good mindset to have. And then, I retired, we went away, and then that was it. We've just kind of always had things going on. Came back to Australia. My mother had a stroke, didn't go back to France. Then we went to Japan, fell pregnant. So I had to be honest, we've just been on the go. Yeah. So, that's just how my life has panned
That's
out.
so good.
Yeah, and
Spontaneous.
then it really has.
Well,
but it
you
is a
haven't
scary
needed
thought
to
post.
anyway.
Post netball, post athlete life, because man, I know a lot of people that are struggling now that I used to play with, or I know in the rugby scene back in the day, and it's really sad.
Yeah.
It really, really is just a sad sight to see, because you see them at their pinnacle and you know how much they got paid and all that sort of stuff, but the in terms of maximizing and leveraging what they had back then, and we always talk about it, it's the people that you're surrounded with. You've got to have good mentors, you've got to have a great agent that is just not after the commission, that cares about what your life is going to be like. Maximizing the most that you can. So I guess I was lucky in that sense, but I don't that mindset should not be adopted. But that's just how my life has panned out.
That's so good. You don't realize, because when I met Mikey, I kind of I loved the property game as I was playing, but I just didn't know what field I'll be in it. So I went into sales. That's where I got into real estate. I fell in love. Before I was a hustler, so I used to sell deals to developers.
Oh wow!
Before, so land subdivisions and stuff like that.
Oh wow!
Before I started doing real estate, but I met Mikey at a gym. That's how I met Mikey.
He goes to the gym.
Yes, it is. That's how I met Mikey. But it was crazy.
Wow.
I was praying. So over the 5 years, I had a vision of where I wanted to go, and I was praying, God, I don't know, I need someone to come through for me. I need something. And Mikey's face came up in a prayer, and I was like, what?
Wow.
No way.
And I called him. I said, Mikey, man, hey, it's a possibility we can catch up for a coffee. I knew he was always in the finance game, but I wanted to know more about it. He literally told me, he goes, bro, do you want to work for me? And I was like, do you want to partner together? And I was like, in what? He's like, don't worry, I'll teach you. Go quit your job. I quit my job that day. I walked into my real estate job. I said, oh, sorry, guys, I'm gone. God's called me to come in.
Yeah.
It was crazy because I told Faye, I go to Faye,
I'm quitting.
I'm quitting. She goes, why? What for? With who? Where are you going? And she's like, with Mikey, that guy in the gym. And I was like, yeah, I want to go work with him. She's like, what? She was all right, if it's God's will, then let it be. And then ever since, we've been cool together. He's been teaching me so much just about, And I was like, I wish I met you when I was 18.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but how crazy was in your prayer?
I know, in prayer, literally,
Yeah.
when I prayed, I literally prayed that morning. And then Michael's face came up and I was like, nah, it can't be. And I called him up straight away. I always tell him that story.
He must be blown away
He's
by that.
buzzing. He's like, come on, mate. I said, no, I'm telling you, bro. So it's,
man.
I think God works in mysterious ways.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. And the power of prayer, it's unreal, man. People may not understand it, but till you have that, when you see it and you feel it, man.
But so many people experience that. We've even experienced that. But it's just that relationship with him, you know, like it's real, man. Like that stuff's real, you know.
It's real, man.
But yeah, I love what you guys are doing because it's, again, like for me personally, the last few years I've been really thinking about the transition because, you know I don't have that long left in my playing career. I've got a couple more years.
I'm sure you got another 5 or 7 years.
I'd like to think so, you know.
You're looking young, mate. Still looking
Mate, this guy's played like 2 games in 5 years since the termination. So he does have another 5 years in him.
The Japanese are caught on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, after this, our contract's done. No, but I'm always just think it's always in the back of my mind because, like, you know, everyone says it's like quite nerve-wracking to go from that transition, you know.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that I invest the money right. I'm doing the right thing. So just, again, I mentioned on your potty that the transition's like a lot easier, you know, and it's not stressful because, man, I've played with so many guys that are like, they hate what they're doing right now because they just blew their money or they didn't get directed by the right people during that time, you know. Because we don't know what we're doing, bro. Like, we're athletes, you know what I mean? So we just need the right people to tell us, oh, yeah, go and invest this and that. But the biggest thing for us is trust, eh?
Yeah.
So many guys
especially
get done
you guys,
over, bro.
man. Especially you guys with the high profile that you guys. I'm sure there's so many leeches out there that are coming in just to, you know, do what they got to do. So it's, I reckon it's definitely a prayer. Like wherever God guides you, it will be all right.
Yeah, we know we'll be fine, you know. Like we're just leaning on God to really take hold and take control of our life, and so we're always, you know, at peace with everything.
We're so thankful that you're here and to share who you are, what you do, what you're about, and also what you've been through. So, yeah, thank you for your time, Eddy. We're so blessed. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Appreciate
bro.
it.
Yeah.
Love what you guys are doing.